Liam, a first-year architecture student, believed buildings had souls. He saw poetry in the brutalist concrete of Northwood University, which is why he requested a room in Blackwood Hall. His roommate, Leo, believed that if you left a pizza box on the floor long enough, it developed its own ecosystem. Liam got room 413, a top-floor corner suite he was meant to share. It was perfect for him. High ceilings, a huge window, and the faint, metallic scent of history. For Leo it was a bit gray, and more importantly, a long walk from the good vending machines. Leo was a business major whose life philosophy was maximum return for minimum investment, a principle he applied to his studies, his hygiene, and his side of the room, which looked like a laundry hamper had exploded. He was loud, perpetually cheerful, and utterly oblivious. He was, in short, the worst possible audience for a haunting. The whispers started when Liam was alone, hunched over his drafting table. A faint, feminine sigh. So close. Liam froze. He blamed exhaustion. A few nights later, it came again, clearer this time. "Build it for me." He was pressing his ear to the cold concrete wall when the door burst open and Leo stumbled in, holding a single shoe. "Dude, tragedy," Leo announced. "Kara from marketing broke up with me. Said I wasn't emotionally available. Can you believe that? I let her use my Netflix password." "My Netflix password?" Liam stared at him. "Leo, did you hear anything just now?" A voice. "Yeah, Kara's telling me I'm a man-child." A little harsh, right? Leo flopped onto his bed, which groaned in protest. "Anyway, have you seen my gray hoodie? The good one with the soft inside? I can't find it anywhere. I feel like this room eats stuff." He wasn't wrong. The room, Liam was beginning to suspect, had an appetite. The whispers grew more seductive, coaching his architectural designs, making them brilliant. He'd return to his desk to find his blueprints subtly, impossibly improved. His grade soared. Yes, the curve of a hip. The room would whisper, "Hey, you talking to your mom?" Leo would yell from his bed, "Tell her I said hi." And ask if she knows how to get marinara sauce out of a comforter. Liam started to feel a deep, possessive connection to the room. It was his muse, his collaborator. One rainy Tuesday, this collaboration was interrupted by a knock. It was Maya, a girl from his history class with eyes like dark pools of ink. She'd found his textbook. When he invited her in, her gaze swept over his incredible designs. "You're brilliant, Liam," she said, her voice a soft caress. So much passion. So much desire. The word sent a shiver down his spine. It was the room's word. Just then, Leo emerged from the bathroom, toweling his hair. "Oh hey, company. Don't mind me." "Liam, serious question. If a shirt is inside out, is it the shirt that's inside out, or is the universe inside out around the shirt?" Maya just smiled, an elegant, unreadable smile. Maya became a fixture in the room. Her presence was electric, intoxicating. When she was there, the whispers stopped. It was as if she gave them form. Their romance blossomed amidst the concrete and graphite. Leo, meanwhile, was on a quest. "The hoodie is gone," he declared one afternoon, holding up a meticulously drawn flowchart mapping its last known locations. "My prime suspect is Greg from downstairs. He looks shifty. And he wears gray. It's classic motive and opportunity." One night, as Liam and Maya shared their first truly intimate moment, the whisper returned, closer than ever. "Yes, this is what I wanted, to feel this." Liam pulled back, his blood running cold. Maya simply pulled him closer. From across the room, Leo suddenly sat bolt upright in his bed. "Aha!" he shouted. Liam and Maya froze. "I just remembered," Leo exclaimed, pointing a triumphant finger at his closet. "I let my cousin borrow it last weekend. Case closed. Man, I'm good." He then flopped back down and was snoring within seconds. The final project was to design a dwelling for the modern soul. With Maya's guidance, Liam's design was a masterpiece. The night before it was due, Maya traced the model's central spire. "It's beautiful," she breathed. "The room helped, you know. It loves you, Liam." Her voice dropped, taking on the silken, whispering quality of the walls. "The last boy who lived here, he was weak. He couldn't give the room what it wanted." Liam backed away. "Maya, who are you?" "I'm the desire in the walls," she said, her smile losing all warmth as the room itself seemed to darken and pulse. "You are giving it a soul. Our soul." He saw it then. His design was a replica of the room, a prison for his own soul. He was to be the next stain on the floor. "No," he gasped. "Don't fight it," the room soothed with Maya's lips. With a scream, Liam swept the model from the table, shattering it. The room shrieked in fury, the window imploding. As Liam scrambled for the door, a furious wind tore through the room, whipping papers and clothes into a vortex. The door flew open, but it wasn't Liam who had opened it. It was Leo standing there in his boxers holding his phone. "Dude, I'm trying to sleep," he yelled over the supernatural gale. "And what the hell did you do to your Lego thing? That's gonna be a pain to clean up." He looked from Liam's terrified face to Maya's now monstrous one. "Whoa, you guys have a weird vibe right now. Did you eat the last of the chips? Because if you did, that's a relationship ender, man." The entity in the room, momentarily confused by this utter lack of fear, faltered. Its shriek dropped an octave. In that moment of hesitation, Liam shoved past his roommate and sprinted down the hall. He ran from the building and never looked back, abandoning his scholarship, his dream, and his roommate. Leo, left standing in the doorway, just shrugged. He looked at the furious, swirling entity that was Maya. "So, you single?" Liam is a draftsman now. He designs square, boring buildings. And Leo? He's a legend in Blackwood Hall. The guy who lives in the haunted room and complains the ghost doesn't pay its share of the electric bill. He never did find his gray hoodie. He's pretty sure the room is wearing it. A fascinating case. Liam exhibits classic symptoms of heightened sensitivity, making him a prime target for what paranormalists call a genius loci, or a spirit of a place. The entity, Maya, followed a textbook pattern of seduction, isolation, and attempted absorption. What's remarkable here is the control variable, Leo. His complete lack of susceptibility, his grounding in mundane concerns, girlfriends, hoodies, snacks, acted as an unintentional shield. He didn't break the spell. He was simply too dense for the spell to recognize him as a participant. A perfect demonstration of how reality, in its most basic form, can be the ultimate defense against the uncanny. Now, let's turn to a more deliberate form of horror. Chloe, a sociology major, was the perfect student. Diligent, ambitious, and desperate to please. Professor Alastair Finch, a legend in his department, was the perfect predator. His secret, invitation-only study group was a fast track to academic stardom. Chloe was thrilled to be invited. In Finch's sterile office, she met the other chosen students. The cynical Ben, the quiet Rachel, the power couple Mark and Dana, and a friendly, slightly confused-looking guy named Sam who was clutching a large bag of gummy bears. "Welcome," Finch said, his voice smooth as polished granite. "You are here to learn how to pick the locks of society." "Awesome," Sam whispered to Chloe. "I really need the extra credit. My grade in intro is, borderline. Is this gonna be on the final?" Finch laid out their first task: convince a stranger to give them a personal item. Chloe used a clever story. Ben used intimidation. Sam returned 2 hours later with a half-eaten sandwich and a new best friend named Jerry, who had apparently needed someone to talk to about his pet iguana. "I didn't get his wallet," Sam reported to the group, "but Jerry's having a tough time, you guys. We should all hang out with him." Finch's eye twitched. The tasks grew darker. The group was instructed to psychologically isolate a fellow student named Kevin. It was horrifyingly effective. Chloe was racked with guilt as she saw Kevin eating alone, his spirit crushed. Sam, however, completely misunderstood the assignment. He thought psychologically isolate was a typo for psychologically motivate. He spent the week leaving anonymous notes of encouragement on Kevin's locker, signing them a secret friend. He bought him a churro. By the end of the experiment, Kevin, while alienated from his old friends, was happier than ever because he was convinced he had a guardian angel. The subject appears to have formed a new, albeit delusional, support structure, Finch noted, his voice tight with frustration. An unexpected variable. Ben was the first to confront Finch, calling the experiments cruel. He disappeared from campus 2 days later. The official story was family reasons. Sam was concerned. "Poor Ben," he said. "I hope his family's okay. I was gonna ask him to help me study. He's really good at the words." The final experiment was the panopticon. The remaining students had to psychologically break each other. Finch sent cruel, targeted texts, exposing their deepest insecurities. Chloe felt her mind fraying. Sam, meanwhile, was having a great time. He thought it was a team-building exercise. He kept trying to organize trust falls and group hugs. His texts to the others were relentlessly positive. To Chloe, "Hey, you're doing great. Don't let Professor Grumpy Pants get you down. Want a gummy bear?" Finch's plan was unraveling. His perfect, sterile experiment was being contaminated by relentless, idiotic kindness. He focused his efforts on breaking Rachel, using a deep family tragedy against her. Chloe found her sobbing in the library, and in that moment she knew she had to act. She went to Mark and Dana and laid out her plan to report Finch to the dean. As they were strategizing, Sam walked up. Guys, big news," he said, beaming. "I talked to Professor Finch. I told him he seemed really stressed and that maybe he should try yoga. And I gave him my entire bag of gummy bears." Chloe stared at him. "You did what?" "Yeah." He got this really weird look on his face and then he just walked away. "I think I got through to him. I bet I get full extra credit for that." The next morning, when Chloe, Mark, and Dana went to the dean's office, they found Professor Finch already there. He was formally withdrawing from his tenured position, citing the need to reevaluate his life's purpose and explore mindfulness. Chloe never got the triumphant email with Finch's twisted research paper. Instead, a week later she got a postcard from a silent retreat center in the mountains. It was from Finch. It just said, "Thank you. The gummy bears helped." Chloe had survived not just by her own cunning, but because the complex, sadistic machine of a master manipulator had been completely dismantled by one well-meaning idiot who just wanted to pass his class. She had escaped the hunter, but she would forever be baffled by the syllabus. Here we see a textbook case of narcissistic psychopathy in Professor Finch. He created a closed system, a social laboratory where he was the sole arbiter of reality. His methods, manipulation, gaslighting, isolation, are hallmarks of predatory behavior. The experiment should have succeeded. By all metrics, Chloe's group should have imploded. But Finch failed to account for the chaos factor, for the agent of pure, unadulterated sincerity. Sam did not operate on the same psychological plane as the others. His motivations were simple. Pass a class, be nice to people. This guileless approach rendered Finch's complex manipulations utterly useless. It's a powerful lesson. Evil often relies on a shared understanding of cynicism and fear. When it encounters genuine, simple kindness, it often doesn't know how to react. Now, for our final case, we move from the psychological to the historical. Ethan, engineering, and Sarah, literature, were the perfect campus couple. Their spot was by Lake Ophelia, a place of idyllic beauty and tragic legend. The story went that a student named Alara had drowned there a century ago, heartbroken. Their best friend Dale thought the lake was wet and full of ducks that look at you funny. Dale was a film studies major who inserted himself into their lives like an uncredited extra who desperately wanted a line. He was their constant, unsolicited companion. The change in Sarah began with a hummed tune, a sad, forgotten melody. Then came her obsession with the lake. Ethan, a pragmatist, was worried. Dale, a film theorist, had other ideas. "Dude, it's obvious," Dale explained over pizza. He'd eaten most of it. "She's going method for her Victorian lit class. She's inhabiting the character of the tragic heroine. It's brilliant. It's like De Niro in Raging Bull, but with more angst and better grammar." Sarah grew more distant, her personality submerged by a century-old sorrow. She started wearing a vintage blue dress. "See," Dale whispered to Ethan. "Costuming. Her commitment is unreal." The breaking point came when Sarah, her eyes dark with a stranger's grief, accused Ethan of planning to abandon her. "You're just like him," she screamed. "Like who?" Ethan pleaded. "Like the protagonist in a poorly structured narrative." Dale offered helpfully. "Her character motivation is a little thin right now, but I'm sure it'll pay off in the third act." Terrified, Ethan spent a night in the archives. He found the photos. Alara, the drowned girl, and her lover, Thomas, an engineering student. The parallels were undeniable. He was dealing with a real ghost, and his only backup was a guy who thought life was a movie. He found Sarah by the lake on a moonless night, wearing the blue dress. As he approached, Dale popped out from behind a willow tree holding a large popcorn. "Knew it," Dale whispered loudly. "The big confrontation scene. The lighting is perfect. Very noir." "Sarah," Ethan said softly, ignoring him. "I know what's happening. I'm not leaving you." Her face hardened. It was Alara's sorrow looking through her eyes. "You already left," she whispered and walked into the black water. "Whoa. An unexpected plot twist," Dale exclaimed, spilling popcorn. "Is she gonna find a magic sword or something?" Ethan didn't hesitate. He plunged into the freezing water after her. He grabbed her, fighting to pull her possessed, willing body back to the shore. He finally dragged her onto the muddy bank and began desperate CPR. "Come on, Sarah, don't leave me," he sobbed. Dale knelt beside them, his expression serious for the first time. Okay, I see what's happening," he said, nodding like a seasoned director. "The symbolism is that you have to literally breathe life back into the relationship. It's a bit on the nose, but emotionally it works." With a final gasp, Sarah's eyes flew open. They were her own. "Ethan?" she whispered, safe. He held her, weeping with relief. Their love had been strong enough to pull her back from the echo of a century-old tragedy. Dale clapped his hands together. "And, scene. That's a wrap, people. Absolutely beautiful. I was crying. Are we getting tacos?" They left St. Jude's the next semester. The lake was a wound, but their love was stronger for it. And Dale? He wrote a screenplay about the experience. It was a romantic comedy. It was terrible. But in his version, he was the hero who saved the day with a well-timed, witty remark. And in a way, maybe he wasn't entirely wrong. His absurdity had kept Ethan grounded in reality, a constant, ridiculous tether to the real world while Sarah was drifting away into the past. A textbook example of what is sometimes called a residual haunting, where a traumatic event imprints itself upon a location. Sarah, a literature major with a natural empathy for such tragedies, became a psychic receiver for the echo of Alara's grief. Ethan's love provided the emotional anchor to pull her back. But we must again examine the third party, Dale. By framing every terrifying event through the lens of cinema, he performed a crucial psychological function. He consistently reframed the horror as fiction, as narrative. This provided an intellectual buffer for Ethan, preventing him from being fully consumed by the terror and allowing him to act. So what have we learned from these cases? That horror is not a monolith. It can be architectural, psychological, or historical. But we've also learned that its greatest adversaries are often not courage or cunning, but their mundane cousins: obliviousness, sincerity, and absurdity. The human element remains the most unpredictable, and therefore most powerful variable in any equation. This has been Dr. Murphy Explains. I'm Dr. Murphy. Keep your minds open but your reasoning sharp.